this be the reason why Kris Jenner sent Kanye West to the insane asylum? Guys, remember when Kim and Kanye separated and then they started going through their divorce? Kanye ran to the Instagram and told all of us about the drama within their marriage. He was begging for Kim. He wanted to keep his family together. And he was blaming Kris Jenner for his marriage falling apart. And then he informed us that Kris was responsible for sending Kanye to the mental hospital. Now, this lawsuit that was just amended by Kanye's assistant, Lauren, will give us an insight of just maybe why Kris sent Kanye to the insane asylum. Guys, Kanye is crazy. If these claims are true, he's crazy. Look here, we don't even have to read this lawsuit to know that Kanye has a God complex. But even if I understood that about Kanye, I never, ever imagined that Kanye could go this route, the route of Didy. But anyway, so we've heard about 3 more women. Is it 4 men and 2 women have filed a lawsuit against Didy today? Again, look, all the victims, true victims, need to speak up. But I'm going to be honest. At this point, I am so over Didy's situation. I am so over it, okay? If you see me reporting on it, I don't know. But I don't even want to touch it because I'm exhausted, all right? But anyway, and that's not to say that victims shouldn't come forward. They should, okay? But it's just saturated. It's too much. At this point, if they're not careful, the tide might start turning into Didy's favor. We've already seen 1 victim being dropped for lying. Actually, 2 alleged victims. But anyway, back to Kanye West. So in this new lawsuit, well, I don't want to call it new because Lauren, Kanye's assistant, filed this lawsuit, I believe back in March, April. And I covered this lawsuit. At that time, it was a wrongful termination lawsuit. She was alleging that she was supposed to be paid $1 million a year for an assistant. Like where, guys? Where? Now, when we get into some of these things, you're going to understand why her salary was so high as an assistant, because Kanye expected more from her, okay? And you're going to hear me say things like relations. I'm basically meaning sex, sexual, or something like that. All right. So, but I'll keep saying S because YouTube is funny. Okay, we have developed our own language as YouTubers, and most of the people who watch YouTube understand what we're talking about. But anyway. So one of the craziest things alleged, and people have been reporting on, is that Kanye had these crazy fantasies of wanting to have relations or intercourse with the mothers of the girls, or the women rather, he was involved with. One example given in the lawsuit was Bianca, Kanye's wife. Kanye wanted to sleep with Bianca's mother. But listen, it gets more crazier. Not only did he want to sleep with Bianca's mother, he wanted Bianca to watch him F her mother. Sick, okay? And then there's also discussion of drinks being spiked. There's allegations of essay, okay? There's allegations of Kanye walking out of the shower naked with his penis up there, okay? Erect. For this guy to either or take it somewhere else, right? Like, this is starting to sound like Didy situations. Anyway, so let me not get ahead of myself, but before we get into what I have for you guys, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Our community is growing. Steady but strong, right? We are building a strong foundation. And guys, please comment, say something. It really helps. It really helps with the recommendation of this video. So, Lauren, who is Lauren? Lauren was, now everything I say in this video is alleged, and I'm going to be getting most all of my information, guys, from this amended lawsuit. Why did she amend it? She's adding more stuff to the lawsuit. As I said, when she originally filed this lawsuit, it was about wrongful termination. Now, there's some things that were there that most of us, when we reported on the case, we overlooked them and mostly focused on the wrongful termination of the case, right? But let's just get into it. So, Lauren has known Kanye for a long time, but she formally became his assistant 2021. So from 2021 to 2022. That's, I don't know how long, less than a year. Let's just call it a year, right? But she starts by saying that she was once invited to a studio session in Santa Monica, all right? To me, when somebody talks about a studio session in terms of music and Hollywood, I'm thinking of people actually working. I'm thinking of singers, producers, maybe background singers, like getting work done, not inviting workers to the studio, right? But from what this lawsuit says, those things went down. So some years ago, Lauren and someone else who she calls a client, they get invited to this studio session in Santa Monica. Guess who's there? There's Kanye and there's Didy. Now, when you hear this, you see why this lawsuit was amended. This was one of the things that was added to the amended lawsuit. The situation where she learns that something went on when she had blacked out. Now, I'm wondering why she didn't do this originally when she filed the lawsuit. Maybe she was scared because Didy was very powerful. But I'm thinking, wasn't this after Cassie had already filed her lawsuit? But anyway, she's probably doing this now that she knows Didy is in jail and he can't touch her. But anyway, so they're invited to this studio session. Didy is there, Kanye is there, and other people are there, right? At some point, somebody says, give them drinks. She takes a drink. Then she says what she remembers is she started feeling sick after taking that drink. And then at some point, she started feeling like she was losing control of her body. The next thing she remembers is waking up the next day, the next morning, had no memory of what happened the night prior, how she got to where she was from the studio, no recollection. Instead, she feels embarrassed and ashamed. She called going to the studio session as work. And what we learn is that she did work with Kanye on and off, not as a permanent or full-time hire, but she did work with him on and off. And allegedly, that studio session invite was work. Anyway, so she just felt embarrassed that she drank too much. She did, bad representation of herself. But anyway, she moved on with her life. Years later, Kanye hires her as an assistant. Then during one of these meetings that she was having with Kanye, he lets her know that, you know that we hooked up some time ago. And she was like, no, I don't remember when. And he was like, during that Santa Monica studio session, you came over with your friend, or you came over with a client. There was Didy, me, and other people. You remember that? And she was like, yeah. And he's like, we hooked up. And he went into graphic detail about what the hookup entailed. And she was like, I don't remember that. I remember waking up and not knowing what happened, right? She learns through Kanye that something between the two of them sexually went down, right? had no recollection of that. Then when she tells Kanye that I don't remember that S encounter with you, Kanye laughs and says, quote, women love to say they don't remember. So that's one of the allegations she has in her amended lawsuit. Now, let me play the devil's advocate for this. I don't know. She's alleging that the drink was spiked, right? Because she doesn't remember anything. The only person who told her about what went down was Kanye himself. She remembers nothing of her hooking up with Kanye. Anyway, she said, I had no recollection of it. So she said after Kanye told her this, she was disgusted and felt numb, wanted to immediately quit working for him. However, Lauren claims she felt she had to be careful about distancing herself, fearing retaliation and wanting to ensure she received the salary and raise she was owed. Anyway, I don't know. If somebody tells me they took advantage of me when I was unconscious or blacked out, look, I would quit. Now, I guess it's easier said than done, right? But this is what I'll do. I think I would quit, go to the police, report it, and they're going to pay me the money they owe me because I couldn't finish my work because I was in fear of my life that what you told me happened at a studio session in Santa Monica might just happen again. Right? So I get the feeling she filed the amendment because of all the lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy. And there's one common thing in all of these Diddy civil suits. He spikes drinks. Women start to feel like they've lost control of their bodies. Then they pass out. They wake up the next day not knowing what happened to them, except that their bodies are sore, right? From the behind and the front. It hurts. They know something happened, but they can't tell you exactly what happened. So what Lauren has done is pieced that information together. From the information that Kanye gave her, that they hooked up, she doesn't remember, and then that Diddy spikes drinks, right? So this is why I say you can't put this on Kanye. She's trying to put this on Kanye, that her drink was spiked by Kanye. But how do you know? Diddy was there. For now, we can say with confidence, since the feds have gone after Diddy, indicted him, he's in jail, he spikes drinks. And Kanye's response, women love to say they don't remember, makes me think he's thinking she was either embarrassed or just didn't want to admit it because he was now her boss, right? It doesn't sound like in Diddy's situation where he knew he spiked her drink. You know what I mean? It sounds different. So if she goes the Diddy route, it might work. For me, if I were Kanye's lawyer, it sounds like Diddy spiked your drink and I was attracted to you. We started making out and I thought it was consensual because you were responding, right? I didn't know your drinks were spiked. Anyway, so that's one part of the lawsuit. I'm only going to touch on things from page 1 to page 10 of the lawsuit. The lawsuit is like what? Over 80 pages? I can't cover all of that. And I'm not going to cover the entire lawsuit. I just want to talk about these pages that I was like, oh my God. Anyway. And then there was another encounter at a hotel in San Francisco shortly after she started working with him. So the studio session was in Santa Monica. Now she's working for Kanye. They travel to San Francisco on a business trip. She's the assistant. They have separate hotel rooms. She says, and this happened July 2021, according to Lauren, Kanye invited her to his room in San Francisco under the pretense of discussing work-related matters. She says once she was in the room, Kanye's behavior suddenly changed, becoming S aggressive, okay? She says Kanye attempted to physically force himself on Lauren without her consent. She claims she firmly rejected him, but Kanye kept on advancing. She even tried to leave the room, and Kanye would not allow her to leave the room. Now, she doesn't say he was blocking the door, but she just felt like she couldn't leave. She goes on to say that Kanye persisted, making it difficult for Lauren to exit the situation, right? Lauren reports feeling scared and uncomfortable during this hotel encounter. Now, she was not, according to her, the only female employee that experienced such aggressive behavior from Kanye. Anyway, she goes on to say because she rejected him, actually twice she rejected him. I don't know if she rejected him twice at this hotel. There was another time when Kanye, bear in mind, they are staying rather in these very expensive hotel rooms. On one incident, Kanye, around 6 in the morning, we know what happens with men early in the morning, right? They want to get it on. Around 6 a.m., she gets a boom, 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 knock on the door. It's Kanye, very loud and aggressive. She sees that it's Kanye. She opens the door for him, and Kanye says, the water in my shower is not working in my room, this very expensive room that you're probably paying over $1,000 for a night. The water is not running. Call the front desk and tell them to come and fix your water pronto, right? But anyway, instead he goes to the assistant's room and he says, I want to use your shower. My water in my shower is not working. So she's like, oh, okay. Kanye gets into her shower. The next thing she knows, Kanye walks out of the shower totally naked and his penis up there, right? And she freezes like, what's going on? The next thing is Kanye is trying to force himself on her. Allegedly, I was not there. All of this is in the lawsuit. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. Nobody told me. I'm just reading what is being alleged in this lawsuit. Okay, so allegedly, I wasn't there. Anyway, and imagine somebody is just putting his thing that you don't want in front of you, and she's like, sir, no, please, sir, no. Very uncomfortable and very sad. But anyway, and we know, didn't he tell us that his penis was racist? Remember that he said, this racist penis of mine. So there you have it, Kanye. Deal with it, okay? They're coming for you. Deal with it. Don't call on us. Black women, sidelines, please. Let him handle it. Let his racist P handle this situation. Anyway, and she rejected him both times. Now, she alleges that because she rejected him, when they went back to regular work at his Yeezy offices, the work environment became hostile. He was making her work very uncomfortable. And you know what? If this is true, they do that. If you reject your boss, they want you out of there fast. And a person like Kanye with a God complex, who are you to reject me? You should be happy that I came onto you. You should be happy that I want you. You should be happy that my racist P wants to put itself in you. This is the kind of mentality Kanye has. We've seen how Kanye moves on this earth, right? He is the second coming to all of us. He is so crazy in his mind that I truly believe Kanye does not think he's black. The way he moves, right? And Kanye is the type of person who strikes me that because he's sleeping with white women, in his mind, that's closeness to whiteness. And we see a lot of black men, especially when they get money, they have that small-mindedness, right? An inferior complex. The reason why they get close to white women is because the closer they are to white women, they feel like the closer they are to becoming white men. They don't know they never will be. And I'm telling you, in Kanye's mind, every time he's in a white woman, he thinks he becomes reborn as a white man. This is why Kanye was under the assumption that he could say anything he wanted about Jews and he would get away with it. They destroyed him. Okay? He went from being worth $7 billion net worth to less than $1 billion quick. He used to boast about being the richest rapper in the world. He was richer than Jay-Z and Didy combined. And he would boast about that. No more. He talked about Jews and it was kaput for him. And he said a lot of crazy things. And that he was quickly humbled. You are not Trump. Trump can say anything about anybody and get away with it, right? No matter what proximity you had to Trump, you're not white, Kanye. You are just not a white man, okay? Even Trump, I don't know how they let Trump get away with so many things. The guy was convicted of 34 felons, and he's running for president? Imagine. But anyway, him and Kanye are friends. Birds of a feather? All right, so let's continue. So those were one of the things she alleged. Then she also talked about Kanye sending her inappropriate messages. He was so fixated on her. He wanted her to change how she was dressing. Now, you would think if you hear that he wanted her to be more professional. Because if you look at these pictures, this girl doesn't look like an executive assistant for an office job, does she? So when she says that Kanye wanted her to change how she dresses, you would have thought he wanted her to be more professional. He wanted her to be more provocative, to be more desirable to him. Okay, let me not get ahead of myself because we're going to find out how Kanye picked his female employees. All of his female employees were picked based on attractiveness. At least the ones that he was always, the word escapes me. The ones he was dealing with on the daily, right? He wanted them to look a certain way. And all of them were women he was attracted to and wanted to sleep with. So he hired them. It didn't even matter where they came from. They could be from another country. Kanye found a way to bring them into the United States, throw them in on the floor, on a mattress on the floor, get his way with them sexually. Anyway, so let's get back to Lauren. So she says that he crossed the lines or blurred the lines between professional and personal. He was very interested in the men Lauren was dating. He was also interested in what Lauren did with her partners sexually. That's crazy. He asked her for graphic details of what she did with those men. Every time Kanye was with a woman, the next day, he was telling her about graphic details of what they did. She was like, I really don't want to know what you did. But again, he's your boss, paying you so much money every 2 weeks. So she sat there and took it. Anyway, she says, Kanye would often share details about his own encounters and desires with her being Lauren, despite Lauren, not wanting to hear about them. Kanye showed an unhealthy interest in Lauren's personal life, particularly her romantic relationships. Lauren alleges that Kanye would ask intrusive questions about her dating life and experiences. Kanye's fixation on Lauren's relationship extended to making comments about her appearances, suggesting how she should present herself to potential partners. So he was, disguising himself as Big Brother. Oh, let me give you tips about how you should dress to attract certain men. But what he meant was, let me tell you how you should dress to make me happy, so that I find you pleasing for my eyes and my own desires, okay? Kanye's behavior created a hostile work environment for Lauren, blurring the lines between professional and personal boundaries. Okay, Lauren alleges that Kanye's inappropriate communications were not limited to work hours, with him sending messages at all times of day and night. And I remember this was part of the initial lawsuit, right? She said she was basically 24/7 on call. Every time Kanye contacted her, it was not about work. It may be about a bad time he was having. It may have been about he had with another girl and he was telling her about it. It looks like Kanye didn't have male friends, or didn't just, regardless of male or female, he didn't have any friends to talk to. So he used his employees as people to bounce off everything, regardless of what it was, and they had to take it in because that was their boss. I can't imagine him picking up the phone and calling Jay-Z at 2 a.m. and say, Jay-Z, oh, let me tell you, I was with this girl. Jay-Z would be like, get out of here, okay, 2 a.m. So he couldn't do that. He couldn't even do it with Kim anymore, but we're getting to Kim, okay? Now, the kinks, the desires, the perverted mind of Kanye. Some of these things are very much like Didy. Let's start with how Kanye used to film what he did with women. Isn't that like Didy? Recording stuff. Anyway, Lauren's lawsuit claims that Kanye would film encounters at Yeezy offices. The lawsuit alleges that makeshift bedrooms were set up in the office with mattresses placed on the floor. Okay, so if one day, today's a Monday, Kanye gets up, walks into the office, sees Lisa over there and says, Lisa, go to office B. And office B has a mattress. You know exactly what Kanye wants, okay? He comes to the office on Tuesday and he says, hey, Jennifer, go to office B. You know exactly what's going to happen to you. And he did that with female employees. And she said it was no secret. People knew. There were mattresses on the floor in offices with blankets, and people knew exactly what was happening. That's crazy. But anyway, she goes on to say that these setups were used for encounters between Kanye and employees, as well as other individuals. So if you are the head of the company and you don't know how to treat female employees, best believe that the other male executives are doing the same thing as Kanye to other female employees, which is sad. They need to be included in the lawsuit. Anyway, Lauren alleges that Kanye would film these encounters so that others would get the full picture. This is crazy. And, you know, Didy did this to embarrass the alleged victims, right? But also to make them keep quiet. If you talk, I'm going to show this to your partner, or I'm going to show it to the world. So those women would be forced to keep quiet. It seems Kanye may have done the same thing, but I think in Kanye's situation, he did it to boast, right? It made him feel like the man because he had conquered all these women in the office, and he was showing everybody, oh, look who I conquered on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That was embarrassing for the women. But anyway, she goes on to say there was a rotating list of guests that Kanye would bring in to fulfill his desires, often at the Yeezy company offices. So imagine if you were not an employee of Kanye's, and we all knew who Kanye was. So maybe Kanye met you at a restaurant or club, however he met you, off Instagram, because it seems like some of these women, he found them on Instagram, contacted them, and then he would bring them over to his office. You can imagine that girl was probably feeling special. Oh, I'm with Kanye. and you go into the office, and here is the boss, the CEO of Yeezy. Remember Yeezy shoes? They were like $300 and something dollars. Kanye was worth $7 billion, right? This is before he went off on Jewish people. And you go in there and you're thinking you're the lucky girl. And then he takes you to one of those offices and you think, ooh. And then you do things with him. And you walk out of there thinking, I might see him again. This might be the start of something. And the other women in the office are just looking at you like, oh my God, poor thing. She doesn't even know. He did this to another girl yesterday. He's going to do this to a different girl tomorrow. You're just another victim. And these men often, I'm sorry, prey on young, immature women. And I'm not really meaning young as in age, though some do go after minors, but they also go after women who are just obsessed with men with money without looking at the character of a man, right? Usually this is the women they go for, or how you present yourself, which is what we're going to find out about Bianca. Bianca was an S-worker that Kanye brought from Australia to the United States. Why? Because of how she presented herself on social media. Bianca was looking for a person like Kanye, in my opinion, and she found him. But what she didn't expect was the monster he became. Did you guys see those images that were going around last week of Bianca and Kanye on a boat in Italy? We saw Kanye's entire behind, everything, and I'm not meaning in his underwear, like everything on the boat, right? And what was Bianca doing? Giving him oral on a boat, right? And we know just the way Kanye has been looking lately, his teeth are rotten. He's wearing that plastic, like they say his teeth are rotten, okay? And he looks like he doesn't shower anymore. And imagine doing that to a man that doesn't shower. He doesn't, like, oh, Bianca, run, okay? But anyway, I don't think Bianca is that innocent. Let's continue. So we've learned that Kanye, like Didy, likes to film what he does. Now listen, these actions, disgusting, terrible, some illegal actions, were not done to American women only, even women from other countries. One of those is his wife, Bianca. So let's talk about Bianca and how Kanye used work visas to import. And yes, I did say import, right? Because he was not looking at these people as human beings. He was looking at them as products, as things, as blow-up dolls that he could use. That's why I use the word import. And if these things are true, and I'm sure that the feds are going to start looking at Kanye right now, and don't be surprised if we see an indictment next year of RICO charges like Didy on Kanye, because this is organized crime. The way this woman has amended this lawsuit, she's setting up Kanye for organized crime. And if there's any evidence, they're going to get him. We all know most people in power, they don't like Kanye. So they will have no problem whatsoever dealing with Kanye, okay? Unless Trump becomes president, he might pardon Kanye. But other than that, anyway, so Bianca, Kanye's wife, was an S-worker that was brought to the United States by Kanye through a work visa. And he used to use Gap and Adidas to obtain these work visas. Remember Yeezy and Adidas, there was like some contract. That's how Kanye became a billionaire. And Gap, he was making clothes in partnership with Gap and shoes in partnership with Adidas. Both of those relationships are done, right? That's how he lost his billionaire status. And, you know, he said a lot of things about Jews and he lost it. Anyway, so he brought Bianca to the United States. She was not immediately his wife. According to this lawsuit, she came to the United States to be an S-worker for him, right? and also organize S parties for him. But she also participated in those S parties. One example she gives, one time, I don't know if this was before or after they were married, that is Bianca and Kanye. She says one time in the office, there was a meeting and with other businesses. So there was a partnership, something they were working on with other businesses. So you had a lot of men, executive men from other companies attending the meeting in Kanye's office, as well as all the employees that were there. She says that Kanye instructed Bianca and some of those female guests to perform oral S on the male guests at the meeting, and they did this in the office changing rooms. Now, you understand why they would have changing rooms, right? Because he was dealing with clothing. So they would have changing rooms. Maybe models can try clothes there. So Bianca was one of those, and they did that. And according to Lauren, the next day, Kanye was busy boasting to her how he made Bianca and other women perform as on other men. Now, again, I don't know if they were married at this point or not, but clearly Kanye has never respected Bianca. And we can see how he's been parading Bianca in the streets of the world, totally naked, everything from nipples, we see them all. I don't know how they've gotten away with that. The fact that she's paraded and she's walking in the main streets of US cities showing nipples, and there are children in the streets. I don't know. But anyway, but get this. One other thing we learned from this, the other things they're going to get Kanye on, S trafficking, because he lied to the government why he was needing the work visas. Now, they were given vague job titles, but according to her, that's not why they were brought to the country. They never did the work for the job titles they were given. The work they were here for was to please Kanye's S desires. Okay. So at some point, he gets married to Bianca. We've seen what Bianca has become. And what we've heard, or rumors are, that, they might be heading for Splitsville, okay? They might be divorcing. And look, she's going to Cassie Kanye, okay? She is going to Cassie Kanye. And what do I mean by that? Cassie was the beginning of the downfall for Didy. And if Bianca files a lawsuit, she knows a lot more, okay? And she can accuse him of a lot more. And Kanye is going to look at Kim and said, I left a good thing. Even though Kim was the one who left him, what I mean by that is the way he treated her forced Kim to leave him. Kim endured a lot. She should have left him much earlier than she did. But because he was the father of her 4 children, she tolerated his nonsense. But I get the feeling that when Kanye crossed the line and said to Kim what he said to Bianca, Kim said, hell to the no. But let's go to what Kanye said to Bianca's mother. According to the lawsuit, Kanye texts Bianca. So Bianca's mother is in the country, is in the United States visiting from Australia. Kanye texts Bianca and tells Bianca, I wanna F your mother before she leaves. Basically saying, I want to sleep with your mother before she leaves, okay? Now, according to Lauren, the text was, she received a text from Kanye with a screenshot of the message he sent to Bianca, and this was received September 28, 2022. So let me read what I wrote, the notes I took. On September 28, 2022, Kanye allegedly sent text messages to his wife, Bianca. I'm not sure if they were married by then. I think they were married. That's why I called her his wife, right? Expressing his desires to have S relations with Bianca's mother. Lauren claims Kanye forwarded a screenshot of this conversation with Bianca, all right? The first message allegedly read, "I wanna F your mother before she leaves," right? Then Kanye then reportedly asked Lauren if he should send a follow-up message to Bianca for clarification, right? You even need clarifications in your sick moments, right? The proposed follow-up message read, "Should I add?" He's asking Lauren that if he should add the following. "I meant, I want you to watch me F your mother." So he's asking Lauren, you know what, let me just clarify. I know I told her I want to F her mother, but what I really want is for Bianca to watch me doing that to her mother. So he wants to make sure Bianca understands his request. Because Bianca was in the United States on a work visa provided to her by Kanye through either Gap or Adidas, she had to be careful how she responded to him. You have to stroke his ego even when you're saying no, right? So she had to respond in a way that would please him. I don't know if that happened. I don't think it happened. But what she's trying to say is Bianca was walking around eggshells even with Kanye, right? Most of us have been saying, look at what Kanye has done to Bianca. Now, Bianca used to dress provocatively before she met Kanye, but not the way she's been dressing right now. She never used to walk around naked. She's a different person. She's very skinny right now, more than before. Did you see what she looked like? Was it last year or early this year when she was either in Milan or Paris Fashion Week? She wore like this leather bodysuit. You could see literally her private parts. Literally in Europe. You know, there nudity is not, I guess, a big deal. And people are like, what's going on? Now, let's also not forget that Kanye did tell us that he wants or he's getting into adult entertainment, right? So in the beginning, I used to think Kanye is forcing what's her name, Bianca, to dress this way, but it looks like their mind or their mindset met halfway, right? Bianca was okay with, you know, going the extra mile of nudity, right? She was okay being an S worker for Kanye, but there were certain things, I think, in my opinion, that have happened in that marriage that Bianca is not willing to compromise. It's too much. Or maybe her parents have gotten to her because her parents have been speaking out saying, stop doing this to our daughter. We don't know what the case is. This is where I was thinking, my opinion only, that could this be the reason why Kris Jenner sent Kanye to an insane asylum? Because he may have. This woman alleges that Kanye has fantasies of sleeping with the mothers of the women he's involved with. So did he want to do that with Kris Jenner? And Kris Jenner told Kim, get out of here. He's insane. He needs to go to a mental institute. And that's exactly what they did. Remember that? Okay. Or could it be that he wanted Kylie Jenner, Khloe Jenner, Kendall Jenner, and whatever the other sister is to join him and Kim? Or he wanted Kim to watch him with her sisters, and Kim was like, now, you know what? This we can't do. You have crossed the line, right? I am so sure Kim has a story to tell, but she will never tell us because of her children. She will never tell us because of her children. Now, if the feds go to Kim, she might, who knows? Or she'll plead the fifth. I know she's not going to do anything to send Kanye to prison because of her children, but she knows Kanye is insane. Okay? Anyway, what else? I don't want to miss. Oh, so work visas. She alleges that when Kanye found a woman attractive, doesn't matter where he met that woman, somewhere in London, in Italy, in wherever, right? They're all going to be white women. So let's not be surprised because he has a racist P, right? So or on Instagram. If he saw an attractive woman on Instagram, he would find a way to get them to the United States. And he didn't want them to visit only. He wanted to keep them here for an extended period. How was he going to do that? Work visas. So he used, again, his affiliation and partnerships with established companies like Gap and Adidas. And we know these companies are worldwide, so they often get visas. He obtained visas for several women, not just Bianca, from outside the United States, foreign women, imported them to the United States, told them he had a job for them. These women, unsuspecting victims, that's what the lawsuit says, alleged victims, unsuspecting victims. Sometimes he used Lauren to get in contact with those women, offering them jobs with Kanye. Who would say no? At that time, Kanye was worth $7 billion. He was famous. Everybody knew who he was. One of the greatest rappers of all times. And then you get a phone call from someone or being contacted, however, that Kanye would like to offer you a job. And don't worry, we'll get you a visa, an apartment, and you get to work at his head office in Los Angeles. Who is going to say no? Especially these young women, if he saw them on Instagram. So they came here thinking they've gotten a job with Kanye. Well, when they get to Los Angeles, he gives them an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement to sign. And obviously they understand, right? Like, okay, this is a famous person, and obviously there are secrets to his designs or whatever his company is producing. He doesn't want us to leak that information. And that's what NDAs are supposed to be used for. Now, Hollywood is misusing NDAs, right? And what most people who work for these celebrities don't know is that when there's illegal or criminal activity, the NDA is void. It does not protect criminal activity or illegal activities. The whole purpose of the NDA is for you not to disclose company secrets, right? Let's say you work for Coca-Cola, and you know the formula or recipe to Coca-Cola because you're the people involved in the production or whatever it is. You sign an NDA because you don't want to leak that. Pepsi is going to make it. China is going to make that drink, right? So because Kanye had Yeezys and clothing lines with Gap, you could understand why he would have an NDA for his employees. So that was understandable. But instead, he abused that NDA. The women got here. They were given vague titles, but they never performed those jobs, right? Instead, they were in the office waiting to please Kanye, in those offices that had mattresses. Imagine. That is trafficking. And I'm sure if these are true and they can find these women, I'm sure the feds are speaking to this girl. If they can contact any of these foreign women and they find out this is true, oh, Kanye is going down. Is he in the country or is he still in Japan? He better stay out of the country but anyway, Japan is going to extradite him. So it is what it is. Maybe he needs to go to Qatar. I don't know. But that's what she alleges, right? She said, upon arrival in the U.S., the women were reportedly required to sign a non-disclosure agreement about their work experiences working for Kanye. The lawsuit describes a rotating list of guests that Kanye would bring in to fulfill his desires, often at the Yeezy company offices. Poor girls. Kanye's sick. Kanye's crazy. And I'm telling you, Bianca is about to bring a $300 million lawsuit against Kanye. She is. And guys, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. It really, really helps my videos. Anyway, guys, that's all we had. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Until the next one, bye.